Hi, and welcome to a new show. My name is Simon Hall, and I work here at Keister Football. And I am joined today by Mr. Keith Hackett, former head of PGMOL. And it's going to really surprise you to say that we might just mention VAR this morning. Keith, you've said a lot on radio, in the press, and everything about VAR. What's the fundamental start of where we're going wrong this season?
Well, I think first of all, I'd like to just highlight the fact that I'm pro VAR. The reason behind that, and the foundation, is that at Premier League games, we've got 22 cameras minimum. And therefore, having analysed thousands of decisions made by referees over the years, the shortcoming is not the quality of the referee, it's about getting into the right position at the right time with the correct viewing angle to make an accurate judgment. And no matter how much physical effort and training you put into referees, that's the level of exposure they're at. So the basis is, everybody, I want to tell you that I'm for VAR. What is concerning me is that the way in which it's been operated, it's supposed to operate on a serious and obvious error. And it's the referee who is the start lead on that in the protocols. He can ask, take a look. And the ownership of that decision is with the referee. You're then looking at the VAR operator, and he can bring to the attention to the referee something is not right, wrong. It seems to me that we've got an indulgence of interference where we're seeing too much input from VAR operators who want to prove, look, I'm here, I'm really a good guy, I want to do it, I want to help my colleague. And on some occasions, I think that relationship between the VAR and the referee is not quite right.
Yeah.
Mainly because of status,
Yeah.
You're a young referee on the panel, and you're actually saying to Martin Atkinson or Mike Dean, who are first-class referees with tons of experience, I think you got that one wrong.
Yeah.
Or you need to have another look. Or even to the extent of saying, when he's going to make that call, are you sure?
Yeah.
But I think what's happening is, referees are going cautious, and with challenges in the penalty area, they're probably holding back. Wait to what the VAR says. The VAR's thinking, I wonder what the referee's thinking. And of course, when we get to a recent decision by top referee Michael Oliver,
Yeah.
he starts off by giving it a big no.
He does.
He wipes the ground
Yeah.
with a big no. I
And
try
the
to
Liverpool-Man City game.
yes, and then we get a catalogue where there's a checking process, a procedure, and ultimately, the ownership of that major decision is with the VAR.
Yeah. Could have been with the assistant, because I looked at that and I think of the assistant referee who's looking onto that. Because when you've got Michael on the edge of the area, where he is, to me he's slightly side on. So therefore, when that arm comes out, he can't see what
No.
the extension is.
Depth is the problem.
And that is it. So that's where
Yeah.
one, the assistant comes in, but two, that's where VAR's got to come in.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that to me was the thing that was wrong on there, because like I know, like, such as your respect for Michael Oliver, it's unbelievable, and it is right that from that angle, I don't think he's got any depth on that arm whatsoever.
No. And but he's made the call, and the outcome then is that the process is wrong. Look, the VAR protocol laid down by the IFAB allows them not to use the pitch side monitor. So we're clear on that. But at the same time, it says the sole decision maker is the referee.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit of a hot potato for me, because I always said to referees, and I say to young referees, there are times when the decision in front of you is not black and white; it's grey. And what your job as a referee is to do is sell the decision.
Yeah.
And you sell that with a very good whistle, terrific arm signal, and a positive body language. And what we've got hesitancy because of the process, time which shouldn't be a problem, and then what we do is we come to an outcome that looks a bit like decision not sold.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, a simple, go and have a look at the pitch side monitor. Just take your time, look at the psychology of it, and I know you're under pressure, and let's get the right call. Now, I don't mean that every decision the referee's got to go to pitch side monitor, but I do think it's more often than not they should be.
Yeah.
To take ownership of the decision.
On a big decision, especially like that one, that is
Yeah.
a huge, huge decision. It's the first
Interpretation.
goal. I know we're picking that particular incident, and there's been quite a few,
Yeah.
and we're picking that particular incident to turn around and say to Michael, you know what, go and make the decision. Now, I've said the counter argument to that, and I'm going to put that in there, was the fact on one of the publications had actually put that the decision goes to the handball prior to that. On there, we know the Premier League come out and said what they said, and we know that they were wrong in what they said.
Yeah.
But it would have been a better selling tool to say it was right because of the previous handball than what they actually said on distance and everything.
Well, I think from a distance point of view, let's just capture that one.
Yeah,
The distance was shown on Match of the Day very clearly as 8.4 yards, right? Now, you're a professional player and you're a top-class referee,
yeah,
right? The speed of thought is that you're at the top level and that distance is such that you react. So, for me, 8.5 yards is sufficient. It's not a snap, couple of metres, you know, and oops, I'm getting out of the way or whatever. This player made no attempt to withdraw his arm. In fact, I think he was going slightly the other way. In terms of this handball that they reviewed many times, the law is specific in relation to handball for an attacker. It does say that one, he's got to gain possession and he's got to gain control, or he's got to score the goal.
yeah,
Now, at the same time, it also indicates this ball going to advantage. Now, for me, that's negated by the fact that no decision was given,
yeah.
no handball decision was given, so, if you like, carry on. But the result should have been penalty kick, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
But there are other instances, you know, Simon, and that is, we saw in an earlier game where Watford, I think, had a penalty kick against them, which resulted in Watford losing the game. It might have been the reverse. But the outcome was that some weeks afterwards, the PGMOL admitted that was an error.
Yeah.
Now, on a penalty kick decision for me,
With VAR.
with VAR, I want to see it. I just, let's be realistic. We're making a key decision. We want that key decision to be right. We want referees to own that decision. And the system is there to help them. Like the assistant referee is there to help. So from my perspective is, take ownership, use the pitch side monitor, and overcome some of the current problems.
If I was on your line at Grassroots, okay, so we're based in Sheffield, so we'll use Concord Park as a good example, and all the pitches, and I'm on your line and I've seen something behind your back and I flagged for that incident, you've got to take my word for it that he's walking. Does that not work the same within VAR? So, for instance, if your colleague, your assistant referee, or anyone is saying, actually, well, no, that's all right, that's spot on. Take my word for it.
I really think that's a good example, because I used to say to my assistant referees, we're 3 referees.
Yeah.
We are 3 referees officiating this game. I want you to be involved. And don't always think that I've got the best view. You obviously, on some occasions, get a better view. You're there to assist me, right? What we're now talking about is the elite level of the game. We're talking about elite referees, for sure, acting as VARs. I have a worry about that, purely on the basis that the previous day they'd probably been refereeing a match and now they're VAR, and the next day they might be fourth official like they did with young Mike Dean a few weeks ago. So for me, I think those critical incidents where I've got a facility now of VAR, what is VAR? It's to help me, the match referee.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm the guy that carries the can. And my simple view is, I've got no distrust in that guy. He's a capable referee. But sometimes it's about opinion, and it's also about knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, you can go and, as a young referee, pass the laws of the game, have great knowledge of the laws, even probably better than the senior guys. But what we have got is a huge amount of experience. And sometimes that experience says, I know this player, I see what he's done. That leads me to be absolutely confident I'm giving a penalty kick.
Yeah.
And even if the guy's saying in the ear it's a penalty kick, I still would like to look at it, to sell it. You know, there's a wonderful film clip of Australian A-League football with Gerard Gillett.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful piece of where the camera's been allowed, and the film is allowed to listen into a very articulate Australian referee, and the way he talks through that process is a fabulous learning curve. It's a very experienced referee who's learned the principles, and even when he gets to it at the end of the day, he's saying, I go to the pitch side monitor, it helps me sell the decision. And that's what we're not doing.
And he does say that on that. He says they're expecting me to go and review this. And I think as a referee, and your confidence and everything else, is it builds it up as well, knowing that you are right. At the Referee Association conference a couple of years ago, they used sumo, shut up and move on. So if you did make an error, and I thought it was really, really good. Now, we're obviously videoing a lot of games, and as a company, Keys to Football, we're videoing and we're looking at different games and different aspects at varying different levels. And now, going back to last week, me as a referee, I'm in the middle. First goal, important goal, cries for offside. In my head, I know it's onside, and I'm saying no, and I'm giving the goal. Few chirps for a little bit longer, game then continues. Regardless of who you are, as a referee, mentally, that's gone in my head now. I'm in there saying to myself, I know I'm right, but why have so many appealed for it? So I then get I get the pleasure of going back now and seeing that game and knowing 100% I was right. I know 100%, I've seen it, and I've gone back and gone, everything I thought I'd seen, I had seen. And I think that's going to be the same with VAR. I think if they're going back and seeing it and going, oh yeah, right, that's the correct decision, their brains are going to move on. So 50, 60,000 screaming fans, managers running up and down the touchline, it's gone.
I think it's a terrific point you raise, because one of the things that top sports people have, whether it's tennis, football, cricket, whatever, is we all talk about the psychological aspect of confidence. Confidence breeds all sorts of positivities about a referee's performance. And I do and have seen referees who I've worked with for years, because I was their boss, suddenly the shoulders dip, and you can see the effect that they're unsure about that decision. And what VAR's got is it's a really massive psychological impact on that referee. And I've got someone looking at it at the moment. Because what you have is, confidence says, and it's not arrogance here, everything I do, I'm absolutely right. I'm convinced about it, because I want to be positive. In my own mind, I switch off, and I'm doing everything. But now what I've done is I've awarded a penalty kick, for example. I've been in a good position. I've seen it as a penalty kick. And in my ear, I've got somebody saying, need to review it. Hold on. There's a review going on. There's a delay. There's all the sort of pressures now coming on that referee. And he's probably thinking, oh no, I've made an error here. And then the guy says, right, it's whatever it is, the opposite of your decision. The impact on me as an individual, and I can only go back to my career, and I was a confidence guy, was that affects me. Because I can park my own decisions and move on. I'm now parking someone else's decisions. And we've all been in that position, where the assistant's given you offside and you've taken it. You've taken it automatically, and you've thought, I hope he's sure, and then I've parked it because I've not reviewed it. And then that match of the day or whatever, a few hours later, you're looking in and you suddenly think, crikey, you got it wrong.
So, last bit about VAR then. Offsides.
Oh,
Right, so Spurs last week, Sheffield United, 3 minutes 47 seconds I think it was. It's something like that.
yeah.
Just surely, if they can't find it in 30 seconds to get on with the game and go with the on-field decision, surely. I know they're saying it's facts and we're going millimetres and stuff like that, and you and I, and this is the beauty of it, we've had a really good conversation about goal line technology and frames per second and stuff like on there, and technology wise on cameras and what they're filming, it can't be, I don't see how it can be exact.
Well, it isn't. I mean, the simple fact is nobody's standing up and admitting. What they're saying is, well, they're saying little other than it's offside and it's a toe. I know the law.
Yeah.
I know it is. A toe is offside. I know that. What I want to go back to is the technology. Look, I stood up at the the Premier League Summer Conference years ago and was asked a question, given blue sky, thinking, what would you like to introduce? Goal line technology, says I. And I can remember Richard Scudamore saying to me, you've put your neck in a noose here, son, because I don't think that's deliverable. And my first conversations with Dr. Hawkins, was, this is what we want. Well, we can do this. And we spent a fair amount of time going to Motspur Park, the training ground of Fulham Football Club, where we had cameras set up, the stanchions were put up, everything was put up. We were testing the speed of the balls and all that's going behind a board, and it was taking too long. The cameras at 50, then 100, 250 frames per second. And then we went into Reading Football Club and we had the IFAB come and visit us. We had Peter Walton as the referee, even running with the ball under his jersey on one bit to give it a smile, because we said it won't do that. But the outcome was we'd moved to cameras of 500 frames per second. And the impact then was accuracy and timing went up. Everything moved an absolute jump of speed to get a response. What we've got with offside is we ain't got goal line technology. Goal line technology is a single line.
Yeah.
I can tell you that one of the complications was that in the early days, the actual goal posts were not vertical and parallel, so we had goal post crossing halfway up, and sometimes it was unbelievable. So then what we had to do is, or what Okai had to do, was get software adjustments so that we're not going on the goal post, we're actually going on a vertical line that's absolutely accurate. All those things, spot on. We come to now offside. And I've always said to assistant referees, the best way you judge offside is be in line with the secondary most defender. That's the fault line. That's where they get it wrong. Because if you're out by a metre or even inches, if we want to talk feet and yards, the geometry across the full width of the pitch is you're probably a yard out the other end.
Yeah.
That's how the impact is on the geometry. So what we've got now is we have not got a moving camera. We haven't got the GPS system. So what we've got is, we've first of all got a camera angle that's not in line with the secondary most defender. That's my first worry. The second worry is I've now got to track very accurately the point at which the player is kicking the ball.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's the hard bit, yeah.
Well, when you know when you're running a line, right?
Yeah.
The skill set you develop is, it isn't about seeing that kick, it's about hearing it.
It is, yeah.
And therefore, because you want your head still and you want it parallel and you want to be moving up and down the line, really important. And then, so you've captured that. Now you've got to determine, is the player offside? Well, you know, we all know in law that a player can be in an offside position and he's not committed an offence. You know, the public don't sometimes recognise that.
Yep.
But what we've really got to do now is we've got frames and distance. The distance is variable. The speed of the ball is variable. The angle at which it's kicked is variable, right? There are too many variables that say to me, no way on 50 frames per second, confirmed last week by the PGMOL, Neil Swarbrick, in a terrific interview, in fairness to him. And I've got a lot of time for Neil Swarbrick as a referee. And yes, he's the VAR operator, and he's working to Mike Riley's instructions. Sorry, that's how it works at the PGMOL.
Yeah.
The reality is, he cannot stand there and say that 3 millimetres is accurate.
Yeah.
So, going back, when I was the boss of the PGMOL, we had a situation where Sam Allardyce, the manager of Bolton Wanderers, is a really studious guy about the laws of the game. Knows them inside out. I had some really good discussions with him. And in a game at Leicester City, he decides, under new offside law interpretation that he's going to spin on it, he's going to put 2 guys on the goalpost. Uriah Rennie, one of our top referees, is officiating that game superbly, because he was a good referee. And all of a sudden, he's got a problem, because there's a shot on goal, it goes in, are they interfering with play? All those sort of questions came in. The following morning, we had a meeting at the Premier League office, and that same day, we were in touch with the IFAB. Now, I think that the Premier League is the greatest league in the world. Right? It sets the standards. I've got many people from overseas that I've known over many years saying to me, what's happening? Why are they not using Pickside? All those scenarios. But for me, it's about really driving the law changes.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be knocking on the door of the FA, and the IFAB, for the listeners that are not aware, is made up of FIFA, 4 votes, and then England, Scotland, Irish FA, and the FA. They have the votes. And so for me, and there's got to be a majority for any change. But, you know, the dialogue has to be with the FA. Has to be, look, and with David Ellery, who's now with the AFAB. So they've got a direct line to say, look, obviously we're having difficulty selling this decision in the UK. What adjustments can we make in law to make this? Because, I mean, I don't fume, but as someone who's practiced this game for over 50 years and have great knowledge of the laws of the game, I say it because of the books I've written. To actually get someone in the media saying, well, it's an armpit, or someone involved in refereeing saying it's an armpit that's offside. And I've gone, no, if it's the armpit, it can't be offside.
Yeah.
And they go, why? And I go, well, the armpit is the underside of the arm. The hand and the arm cannot be offside.
Yeah.
And then they go, well, where's the line? And again, I say it's the shirt.
It's the join, isn't it? We've had that discussion.
So these are the many things that I think create the distrust because of a lack of selling of the VAR in the public eye. And I think that there are many other aspects that we talk about in the future. I think that the fact that the fan in the stadium is just treated like a mushroom is not right.
There's been a lot on Twitter about that, and fans saying that they're now going to look at the lower divisions where there isn't any VAR and not going to ruin them, and that's probably something that's got to be looked at within the brand of the Premier League, because if that starts happening, then there's major issues. But just to finish on the offside one, because one of my things was I don't know how many years and how many laws of the game I'm going back on this one, but about giving the benefit to the attacker, not the defender, because we seem to have gone defensive again, and ruling out some really good goals. And I think, is there going to be a determination in that change for that wording? So that'll be interesting.
I think you're absolutely spot on. I mean, that's what we used to practice when I was the boss. Give the benefit of the doubt. And we had some absolutely superb assistant referees. We'd covered 3 World Cup finals on the trot with English assistant referees. You know, so in that sense, we had people who were doing the training, doing the development, Paul Rigier in charge of them. And it was wonderful to see how they practiced their craft, because it is a separate skill set. So for me, we always used to say, benefit of the doubt to the attacker.
Yeah.
And that's how I think it's a simple process that should come into play. But what they'll say is, no, we're dealing in fact.
Yeah.
The fact has to be, and the equipment has to be, when Hawkeye stand up in public and say, the equipment that we're delivering decisions on offside,
Yeah.
is equal to that on goal line technology in terms of accuracy, then I'll shut up. But until then, I won't.
Yeah. Well, one very last quick question. Will someone go to the pitch side monitor this weekend?
Well, I was interested in the comment, Simon, because it said, we're going to use the pitch side monitor sparingly. And I've gone, well, I'm confused, bemused, and everything else with it.
So
What's your take?
I think we will. I think we'll see the first one, but now I might think, because I've said that, we'll not do it. So
The real difficulty on that, of course, is that we have two elite referees operating in Europe.
Yeah.
Two very good referees, Michael Oliver and Anthony Taylor.
yeah,
And it must be difficult for them to get the right level of recognition by UEFA
yes,
and the opportunity to referee the very best games, i.e., look, I'm not discounting the fact that they will get good games, but I'm talking about the finals.
Yeah.
The finals that Webb and Clattenburg had. Is the fact that we're operating it slightly differently impacting on their careers?
I'd like that, but when I watched Michael Oliver the other week, I know I rang you and I said this to you straight away. I felt the shackles were off. He looked free, but that's a different debate altogether.
We have promoted and produced some outstanding referees before my career, during my career. You know, we had George Courtney as a terrific referee, different personalities like Neil Midgley and the likes. Howard, who I work closely with, Mark, who I work closely with. We had Mark Elsey, who was completely different, Mike Dean. You know, it is about their personality and it is about their style.
Yeah.
And there's a huge argument, isn't there, about the fact that we have, if you like, manufactured referees against personality referees. And all these referees, I look at them, they've all got personalities,
Yeah.
they're all good communicators. I might not like some of them in terms of their on-field performance,
Yeah.
because they don't suit the style of refereeing that I would select. But off the field of play, they do some sterling work. They go to referees associations.
They do, yeah.
And you know, fine.
Which is really good. So some interesting views there from Keith, and I've put a few counter arguments in place there. Anything you agree with, please feel free to comment, tweet us at Keys to Football or at Keys to Referee. We have both. Feel free to put them in there, because we will be reviewing them and looking at different people's angles and arguments for and against everything that's going on in the season so far. So please join us again next week. Thank you.